Have you ever tried to do self-evaluation? Well, I'm doing that a lot more lately. I'm finding that as life moves on, I'm getting older, that I do have a little bit more retrospection, if that's the right term. And as I move into ministry, I'm finding that to be even more so. Because, when you're moving into ministry, you're not just doing, work anymore, you're doing God's work. And so I've been finding that over the past year and some, that since I've been called into ministry, that I am just really pondering about who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And it's left me with a lot more questions than answers. So the past week or so, I've been taking part in a lot of evaluations through a church, through another church that I may be working at eventually. And it really helped me to really ground myself. Because sometimes I find it hard in this world that we live in to have your compass recalibrated, just to make sure that everything's true north. And of course, as a Christian, that happens in the Bible for us. But it's a little different in the day-to-day. The practical can be a little bit difficult to pin down. So some of you may know, some of you may not know, I felt like I was a tent maker my entire life. I felt like I was a person who was always going to be working in the background, in a job and connecting with people. But that has changed over the past year and a half. And I'm so glad actually that I did do that for the first 25 years of my working life. And that I really have a pulse on what people are going through. That was definitely the PhD, as my mentor would say. I have a PhD in life. I don't need a PhD because I just have experienced a lot with people and conversated with them. And I don't think that's ever going to lead me to like a teaching pastor role or gig like that, but I could see it in the discipleship realm. So yeah, the idea of just doing self-evaluation as you have a massive change in your life, what could seem to some people like a midlife crisis, can be, a little terrifying, a little scary. And I'm not nervous or scared of it. It just helped me to see that I had some major blind spots that I haven't been working on lately. And obviously they're blind spots for a reason, because you usually can't see them, or you can't see the problem, but at least they're there. You're cognitive of that blind spot, and you have to continue to work around. Just like when you're driving and you turn your head to the side there, you want to look over your shoulder. It's a similar type phenomenon when you're doing that in your life, in the spirit realm, in the physical realm, whatever it might be. So during these evaluations, I realized that I really got to listen more. I have to spend time speaking with people and just really asking those extra questions. I thought I was doing a pretty good job of it, but some of these tests really had me rethinking how much I listen to others, and the criticism too, because if your criticism comes from a healthy place, you're in a good place. So I'm very, very thankful for that kind of knowledge and wisdom that I have moving forward. Now, there are a lot of different ways to get that type of self evaluation done. You can do it through obviously books, you can do it through courses, you can kind of do it the way I was doing it now. I had a test, and one of the tests was like a 14-page essay that I was writing, and the other one was over 300 questions about my training, my personality type, who I am as a person, what I'm doing, why I do it, and anything and everything in between, my leadership styles, my spiritual giftings. And I must say, it was extensive. It was actually fun, because in the self-evaluation, as you become more grounded in who you are as a person, it kind of helps you to formulate, some of the thoughts that you may not, just sit down and actually put together. And I found myself doing that quite often over the past week or so, and just hammering out some of the, I would say even, what's the word? I would say even some of the inconsistencies as well as insecurities that I had about myself. And when you take that time to really look at your failures or the things that you don't usually look at, you find that you do have a better grasp a lot of the time on the situation. It's just you haven't put in the effort, the energy to really work on them or go through them. So that was familiar. Sorry, that was a bit of unfamiliar territory. But what was familiar for myself was in going through the different questions and the essays, was that I had a pretty great team around me. And I'm very thankful that over the years I've been able to build these non-yes people, because it's the non-yes people in life that are really drive you towards a better future. And that could be, maybe in a job or in a business or in your relationships with your kids. And you really want to have those people that are going to not just, pat you on the back and tell you how to make the next good move, but how to call you out. And I was really thankful that, in the season that I'm in, that I have this opportunity to, to recognize those people, even just like getting my, what's it called? Just getting my references all checked out. That was something that felt really nice, to have those people that I have, in the background that have been walking with me and serving alongside me and helping me to get to the point that I'm at right now. And so, I just want to encourage y'all to, check out your Myers-Briggs, or to get a grip test or a Berkman's test, or to, look into finding some mentors, look into finding people who can walk alongside you and help you in a hopefully powerful way to overcome some of the problems that you may be facing in your life, and or if you want to move on to the next echelon, the next stage of your life. Because if you do, and if you are willing to evaluate yourself, I think you will find some very pleasant surprises in there. I found this to be a pretty life-affirming exercise, and it really helped me to ground what I believe a lot better. Now, of course, if you're not really spiritual, or you don't want to do something in the spiritual realm, that totally tracks, I understand. You may want to just focus in on, again, a simple Myers-Briggs, or check out a psychologist, go and see a career builder, and just kind of formulate some of those baselines for the way you interact with the world, the job market, because I really was astonished with how accurate the 300 plus questionnaire was, and the things that I do struggle with in the back of my mind. Because when you do these types of evaluations, what's really interesting is that moment that you have, that thought process that settles and sits in the back of your mind. You don't usually express that, or you kind of push it down. But when you're reading it on paper, I'll give you an instance, when I'm not properly validated, when I am doing a really great job with something, or at least I feel I've done that, and it's just completely overlooked as something that was just the norm, and I put in an exuberant amount of energy, it's something that actually does irk me. It really does irk me. And I would think I would, it would linger in the back of my mind, but I wouldn't ever tell anybody. Or I would kind of, even with the counselor that I have right now, I'd kind of just say the right words. And that's one thing, in the fact that I've counseled so many people over the years myself, that, you kind of know how to somewhat dance around the right answers and speak the right lingo, the right talk, to get yourself to look good. And I think my counselor is good enough to cut through that, and he still asks those types of penetrating questions. But it really is a really good way to check yourself, as the old bromide is. Check check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that is kind of where I'm at with this self-evaluation. Is I'm checking myself before I move into I think full-time hardcore ministry, and it's been a blessing from God because I wouldn't have vocalized these things. I would have kind of tried to tough through it. I would have been a bit more, I guess you could say, egotistical or quote unquote stereotypically manly in that way, and just maybe dug my heels in. But every time I'm willing to go down that road of self-evaluation, every time I'm willing to fight for people to hear my voice, that inner voice, it's always proven to be an amazing exercise. So yeah, if I throw that challenge out there that if you have an opportunity to get yourself evaluated, get a counselor, get a mentor, get some books, get some resources. There's actually on Groupon, and I don't know if Groupon is still actually in circulation, but there's a lot of these websites that have courses and or like sessions that you can get for like 50% off, 75% off. They're selling it as a package or whatever it might be. It's worth it to just jump in there and see what kind of deals you can get on, just figuring yourself out. And I also think that it's good to do multiple of these types of self-evaluations because, there is a certain amount of like, as much as it was pretty spot on, the one test that I took, which is it's been around for 70 years. It's good to get multiple forms of tests because even in the portfolio even in the assessment that was given to me, which was, I think it was about 40 pages, they said, see if other people, think that this is correct, and you can adjust your profile as you go. It's not like set in stone because it's a questionnaire. They don't know where you're at. They don't even know where you're at in your mentality in that moment, if you're actually in a good headspace or not. So it's good to, I think, take multiple tests. It's not just a one shoe fits all, like you've done the test and that's it, right? So I'd say try and get multiple tests, but again, multiple different types of sources. I found that the reason why I've matured as quickly as I have throughout the years, I've been able to counsel and move into the spiritual realm the way I have, and I'm being able to speak into people's lives the way God has allowed me to, is not only my relationship with God, but the people that have been in my life. I have 5 pastors who I speak with on a pretty consistent basis, 6 pastors, I guess you could say, and I have multiple elders. I have elders in my Bible study group. I have elders just in my life in general, other fathers. I have a spiritual father in my life who really helps me to bounce ideas off of him. And these types of people that you have to like search after and run after, like as soon as you kind of have those people in your life, you don't take them for granted. But man, when you have these people in your life, you're like accelerating or multiplying your capability by 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I think that's definitely necessary. So just wanted to share that information with you today. Evaluation is difficult, but it's very, very necessary. I am going to continue that road, and I'm super thankful that I feel like God helped me today to really, or I guess the past 2 weeks, but really today to think about how much we neglect looking into the inner workings and the inner problems that we have. Because let me tell you, there are a lot of them, and I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity. And what was nice, I didn't even have to pay for these, so maybe it sounds a little hypocritical, but I've done a lot of work. I've paid for a lot of these types of tests over the years, and I've been going to counseling. I've got 5 rounds of different counselors. I've been paying for counseling and in different ways mentorship for a long time, and been giving a lot of myself for free for a long time as well. So within God's economy, it all works out. It definitely wasn't you know, I'm not just telling you cheaply to go and do something, and I haven't counted the costs. I've definitely counted the costs and put in hundreds and hundreds of hours to that form of self-evaluation. You know, the dad doing dishes videos, the playlist is right here. And if you want to subscribe, that would be fantastic. That should be right here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to say once again that I'm Stephen Tocher. Have yourself a wonderful day, evening, morning, or night. God bless you.